In this series, I'm going to show you how to complete Dark Souls 3 without dying. You can also use this as a very safe and secure way to get through the game. By following this walkthrough, you'll be able to complete this game without too much stress or too much hassle. My name is Azzavhar or Azza. Now let's get into the video game training. On this episode, we're going to be going through the Grand Archives, taking out the Twin Princes, taking out Soul of Cinder, and finishing the game. Let's go. So make sure you've got this bonfire here first of all, and then we're going to head forward towards the Grand Archives. In the last episode, we just defeated the Dragon Slayer armor. Grab this bonfire. You get a key item here, the Grand Archives key, which opens this door. So just before we head in, I'm just going to check how many Aloran skulls we have, because skulls make this section a little bit easier. We have 2 skulls at this time. So I'd recommend going back to the Firelink Shrine, just stocking up on some stuff before we proceed forward through the archives. Okay, so we've got 74,000 souls. We need to grab some Aloran skulls, which we get from the NPC up here. Patches. I'd recommend taking in 10 skulls. You might not need to use 10, but it's better to have more and then not need them, instead of needing them and not having them. So we can carry 10, so we need to buy 8. There we go. So we have 10, and then go back down to the shrine. Going to use bone. 67,000 souls. Sell anything that you may be able to sell, such as Dragon Slayer armor soul. Can get rid of that. Anything else you might be able to, like these twin swords, we can get rid of those. Sell any embers if you want to sell embers, or keep them if you want to hold on to them. We don't have any Estus shards or any undead bone shards at this time. I'm also going to be doing a trick in a minute with this pine bundle, so make sure to have at least one of these fire pine bundles with you as well. 10 skulls. The rest of the items should be fine, but we do have 83,000 souls, so probably should spend some of those before we go further. Again, if you want to be extra safe, just whack that all into HP at this point. We've also got 20 endurance and 45 dex. I'm going to go for endurance and dex. But once you have over like 40, 41, 42 dex, probably would just go for HP and endurance, depending on what you want to do. I'm going to go for that. We've got Homeward Bones, we've got Skulls, we are all set. So we're going to travel back to the Grand Archives bonfire. So on this bit here, we have a Crystal Sage coming up, so just stop before you go into the doors here. I'm going to try and do the same trick that we did earlier on the Crystal Sage boss on this Crystal Sage here as well. So we're going to have the charcoal pine bundles set. We also need the parry shield as well. So just before we give this a try, just to give you a quick rundown of what we did on the Crystal Sage boss earlier. We waited for a sword attack, then we parried the sword attack, then we used the charcoal pine bundle, then we did the critical strike on the enemy, then we switched the parry shield to the grass crest shield, two-handed the swords like so, one sword in each hand, and then we finished off the enemy with a bunch of LBs. So, if this goes right, it should go a little something like this. And that is the Sage. So that just makes this bit a little bit easier if you do manage to take out that mage just there. Don't worry too much if you don't, however. He just casts a lot of magic attacks from above, which is just a bit of a pain, but it's not the end of the world. So on that section there, just run straight through. Run up here. You can use another pine here if you want to do this. So if you didn't take out that crystal stage just before there, then he would actually be just up ahead on this balcony in front of us, casting the magic, which makes it a little bit spicier in this area, but it's not too bad. What you can do if that sage is still alive and above us is head out to this section over here and grab these ladders. Whilst you're on these ladders, the magic attacks won't be able to hit you round about here. And then what you would do is wait for an opening in his attacks, and you would then climb up, run up, and then deliver your run-in LB attack to finish him off with the final strike. He would be just in front of us just here. So just run up, LB, and that would finish off this sage. So we're going to use some alluring skulls here. This is why we picked up the skulls. It should make this a little bit smoother. This bit has a lot of thralls, which are one of the most pain in the butt enemies in the entire game. So we're going to throw a skull specifically for the thrall just up ahead of us. This one here. Sometimes it gets the other one on those ladders too. So here it's going to hang to the left behind these columns a little bit because this enemy will cast magic, so the columns help block the magic attacks. There's a magic attack on our right here, so just keep running forward or roll forward. And if you need to heal, I probably would pop a heal just before running outside these doors as well. Maybe a blossom if you're feeling spicy as well. Run through. This mage will cast here, so you can just roll. This one will also cast, so just keep on running and rolling through. Run forward to these ladders. Jump straight off. Or roll off. We have a gargoyle coming up, which this guy can be a little bit spicy as well, so make sure to heal up here if you need to heal. You can do this a bunch of different ways. Sometimes it's easier to make the gargoyle... Oh. Well, you can also do that and just yeet himself off the side there, and that's probably the easiest way that could go. However, that doesn't always happen, so if he doesn't decide to yeet himself off there, you can try to lure him around this section a little bit and try and get him sort of stuck on these columns, or anywhere around this area is fine. Once he's kind of around this area, you can run and then run up here, and you want to be sort of running or rolling off onto this section here. Grab these if you want some more titanite chunks or you want to sell them. But yeah, just keep that in mind for that section there. It can sometimes be a little bit spicy, because if he does knock you off as you're running up, then that is disaster for you, because you'll end up down there. Anyway, on this bit we can progress forward. Don't need to worry about this enemy here, just run straight past. Have the alluring skulls ready, because once again we've got our best friends, the thralls. Pop that skull there, because the thralls will start to drop down. There they go. Technically you can sort of fight those thralls if you want to, but it's usually a bit easier just to grab that item there. It's a quite a high value soul. Throw some skulls over to the side there. I'm going to activate this but not use it. Carry on forward. Those enemies might be still chasing us, but that's fine. Going to throw a skull over there to keep them busy for a little bit. Once again, this is why it's usually best to have 10 skulls here, because this is pretty much the last place that you would need these skulls, so you just keep throwing them to the side. You can just run up the right here past these, get some stamina back. That guy's buffed, so it's a free pass. Roll that one. That guy's buffed, so it's a free pass. That was relatively smooth, and just grab this elevator here. And it's smooth sailing. Depending on what those knights do, it can be a little bit easier or a little bit harder. So if they all decide to buff, that's the best option. That's the best scenario, should I say, for that section. So if it's buff, 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 you just continue to run past. Grab this elevator here. I've also just activated that elevator and rolled off, which brings up a secret elevator underneath it. So just to show you where we are here, which is just in front of the Dragon Slayer armor boss fight, is just up ahead of us. And then we're going to activate this elevator once again here. And this will take us down. You don't 100% need to grab this item here if you don't want to. Basically what we're doing is upgrading the swords to plus 10 at this point. So this is the Titanite slab hidden under here. So Homeward Bone back to the shrine so we can upgrade. And up next we have the Prince's boss fight. And then pretty much instantly after that we have Soul of Cinder boss fight as well. So sell anything that you can sell, such as these souls that we picked up. This one's worth 20,000, which is nice. Sell those. Sell Ember if you want to. And at this point you can also sell the Titanite chunks because we don't need them, because we only need the slab at this point. So you can sell the chunks. Just make sure to hold on to the slab, as that's quite important. So you should be at plus 9, and then the slab will take it to plus 10. So now you've got plus 10. Check if you've got any Estus shards that you can hand in. We've got 74,000 souls. The princes are weak to lightning, so have a few of these. Usually 5 gold pine resins is good for the fight. Maybe 5 gold pine bundles as well. Stock up on green blossoms if you need them, and homeward bones if you also need those, because you may need to bone out if it gets a little bit spicy in the fight. Other than that, you don't need any more alluring skulls or anything. We've also got 65,000 souls, so now once again would be a good time to level up. We don't need the target shield for this fight, and we don't need the skulls or fire. They can be taken off for now. Let's see what we can level up. Let's see what our stats are at this point. So we're level 61. We've got 18 vigor, 22 endurance, 46 dex. I'm going to go for endurance, I think, here. 24 endurance. Once again, go for vigor and HP if you want to be extra safe. I don't believe we have any undead bone shards here. No, we don't. So we're going to travel back to... I would go for the Dragon Slayer armor Bonfire at this point. Okay, so from Dragon Slayer armor, you want to head backwards across the bridge. And we're going to be going towards the left. So that elevator that we just activated where we picked up the Titanite slab, that's where it will take us up to the Twin Princes Bonfire, just up here. So this is the elevator, and it should take us straight up. Okay, so once that's reached the top, you can just run forward and to the right. Usually the hollows won't bother with us at all. Those knights just walk down those stairs and we are safe to go. Also, this place is really beautiful. I always enjoy checking out this view before we go into the Prince's boss fight. So up the stairs. Just make sure to set your items before we go in. So we're going to be using lightning for this fight. So gold pine resin. And then next to it, I'm going to put gold pine bundles. So this is our setup. We've got double swords. We've got grass crest shield. We've got assassin's gear. You can also change the silver serpent ring if you already have it for flame stone plate ring, because they will be doing fire damage in this. So fire resistance is always good. And then homeward bones, in case you need to bone out, we always have those set. And just before we jump into this boss fight, I do have a massively detailed and massively in-depth boss fight guide for the Twin Princes on this YouTube channel. So I would highly recommend checking out that boss fight guide as well if you want to. Okay, so before we trigger the cutscene, I'm going to go ahead and use the buffs, which are green blossom and gold pine resin. And let's trigger the fight. Lock on straight off the bat. Usually do get hit by that first one. Phase 2. Rebuff. And there we go, that's the Twin Princes. So you can grab this bonfire if you want to in this corner. We're going to head on back to the Firelink Shrine. And then just one more boss fight to finish off the game. So once we've made it back to a Firelink Shrine, we have all the key items that we need to activate the last area of the game. So we're just going to run round into all of these thrones and place each key item to activate all of these lords. You sometimes put that one in and then fall off the edge to save the animation there if you want to. Save some animation time. Okay, so now they're all in. That will activate the last area. We do have 105,000 souls, potentially more. We're going to sell what we don't need. So we can sell Twin Princes. Sell any embers if you want to as well. Not like it makes too much difference, but you can sell the dagger if you want to at this point. Don't really need it. Stock up on any items you might need. I recommend 10 green blossoms, 5 gold pine resins, maybe 5 or 6, or even more if you want to, gold pine bundles. Make sure you got homeward bones so you can bone out if things get a little bit spicy.
Ashen 1.
The setup for this next fight is very similar to the Twin Princes. We've got exactly the same items on. The double swords, the grass crest shield, the assassin's armor, Chloranthy ring, Lloyd's sword ring, Pontiff's right eye, flame stone plate ring. We've got green blossoms, Estus, gold pine resin, gold pine bundles, and homeward bones. We have a lot of souls that we could use, so I'd recommend using those before going into the boss fight. 46, 24, and 18. Again, if you want to be extra safe, definitely whack that all onto Vigor, otherwise known as HP. I'm going to go for Endurance for this one. So I'm going to go in with 18 Vigor, 28 Endurance, and 46 Dex. But it's up to you. As long as you're roundabout similar to that, perhaps going in for more HP to be safer for the deathless, it's up to you. Let's activate the last area. For some reason, when you go to this area and if you use a homeward bone, Bonfire last rested, it actually warps you to the kiln of the first flame just outside here and saves a little bit of time, so I sometimes use that. Okay, so head on up the hill. We're going to be taking out Soul of Cinder. This is the last boss of the game. Once again, I do have a very detailed and very in-depth guide for this boss up on this YouTube channel, so I would highly recommend checking out that detailed boss guide on my channel if you haven't already. Just double check you've got all your stuff set up for your character, so double swords, we've got grass crest shield, we've got the assassin's armor, we've got these rings on, Estus, green blossom, gold pine resin, gold pine bundles, homeward bones, things like that. Make sure you got all that stuff on. We're going to go ahead and activate the fight, and just as we're walking up, we're going to use a green blossom and gold pine resin. This fight might take some time. It depends really on what Soul of Cinder does, because he's got quite a lot of different attacks that he can use. Sometimes it makes the fight longer and sometimes shorter. So let's see how we go. Okay, so run forward. We're going to pop a green blossom and some lightning as well. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so I'm going to lock off at this point. Just lock off and run away, keep our distance. We keep a medium distance here, in case you cast lightning, just like that. So if you just cast lightning, that's your time to strike. Roll through it. You can always use that chance there to apply more lightning if you need to. Lock off. If he jumps back, he's going to cast lightning in the air. Get ready for it coming down. We're just keeping a medium distance here and just kind of running away and rolling to the side like this if we need to. Kind of in like a diagonal type motion. Just get a little bit spicy there. Or you can use this chance to heal as well if you need to, just like that. Explosion's got a little bit of a delay on it, so don't always run in like too soon after the explosion, because sometimes get you. Probably finish him there. Yeah. Let's watch out for the lightning that still drops down from the sky. Soul of the Lords. There we go. Like I mentioned before, I do have a very in-depth and very detailed boss fight guide for Soul of Cinder, so definitely go and check out my Soul of Cinder guide if you do want to. And there we have it. That's a very safe and secure, very reliable way to play through and beat Dark Souls 3 without dying once or having too much stress or too much hassle on your playthrough. Congratulations, you just destroyed Dark Souls 3 without breaking a sweat. Hopefully you enjoyed this Dark Souls 3 walkthrough. Definitely let me know in the comments if this did help you or if you want me to do any more guides similar to this. Make sure to press like and subscribe, drop a comment. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care. Oh my good god. What? You can't poke me through a wall?